Okay, let's run it up. How to go from 22% down to 12% body fat and completely change the dynamic of how your physique is looking. We have just finished with one of our Gorilla Platoon members here, who we've taken from pretty high body fat to now being able to see pretty much his abs. This is not the first time. We've done this for many other men inside the Gorilla Platoon, and we just get results like this, and then we speak about them online, so you can learn from them and apply it to yourself. So we were going to come at you thick and fast for this. You started off at 96.5 kg, and we got down to, I believe, 83 at the end, with the six-pack now coming through. I think around 12%. I think we started at 22. You let me know in the comments what you think, where he was at, because I know you are all experts on this. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts. But a real nice transformation from what we can see here. Nice definition showcasing, see the leanness, change the rating of his body composition, and now he's in a prime position ready to grow. So the very first thing we did was establish his starting point. I like to do this by first assessing body fat visuals. I believe he was sat just a touch softer than the 20% guy, roughly. Again, it's just an estimate. From there, scale weight 96, so 22% and 96, gave him a lean mass of 75, RMR pretty much 2,000. We know from this figure here, if we want to hit 12%, we're going to need to add 12% to it, so that took us to 84. We finished at 83. Let's say the first weight was a bit of water weight that came off, so it's in and around about the same space. Rough levels of activity, 155, which gave him a good, healthy maintenance of 3,100, pretty much for easy numbers. From there, drop yourself into a bit of a deficit. To begin with, 200 calories is enough just to go off the first amount here. So down to 2,821. Protein nice and high. How are you getting that figure? This number times by 2.4. To be honest, for most of you, if you run the 1 gram per pound of body weight of protein, that will work quite well for you anyway. Fats are at 20% of the overall target, and then your carbs are sat to fill up the rest. Now, I will say carbs are very sacred, and you want to keep them as high as possible. When we're talking about what foods should you eat, so for your protein options, you've got 2 ways to look at this. I am all for like beef and egg yolks. They're absolutely quality source of nutrients, but just understand that comes as protein and part of the fats as well, because they are more fatty. Same for salmon. If you want to hit just protein, then your leaner options like turkey, chicken, whitefish, protein powders, that's what you're going to need for that. So you're going to piece that together. And what I would say is get your protein targets done first, and then fill up the rest, go for your fats, and then for your carbs off the back of that. Fats, you're either going to run with things like nuts, dark chocolates. To be fair, in the dieting phase, I wouldn't be running with any oils. They're good for gaining. They're not good for dieting. They're just so dense in calories for so little volume. Avocado also works very, very well as well, or nut butters can also work very well. When it comes to your carbs, you've got 2 options for carbs. I would tell you in a dieting phase, go for quite fibrous carbs. So you're talking oats, you're talking potatoes. But if they're not sitting well with you, they don't digest well, your white rice is going to sit very, very well. For most of you, like white rice sits very, very nice for me. But at the minute, I'm actually running sweet potato and oats as my main fibrous carbs. And then you are, of course, going to utilize the holy grail of fruits and vegetables. So plenty of fruits is going in for pre-workout meals. Pineapple, very good. Personally, at the minute, running with pineapple after a workout, straight back 300 grams, straight down the range, along with some kiwi. I have kiwi both before and after the gym. I have raisins both before and after the gym. Oats before the gym, about 90 minutes before. The yogurt straight in with the kiwi, the raisins, and also the pineapple. I actually put the pineapple outside the yogurt. I don't really like the juice going everywhere. I like to just have that as it is. Vegetables, I'm personally running with spinach. Seems to be the highest nutrients that comes with it. So that's the holy grail. But if you want to add some like water to it, cucumber tomato is also going to do that as well. And if you want like taste, I find red onion absolutely golden for that. So that's how you're going to piece together your meal plan relative to your macros as well. Now, of course, you're going to need to be resistance training in order to change how the physique is looking here. So how are you going to decide what to train? For most of you, I think, honestly, a 4-day split will probably work quite well, because I think most of you can commit to a 4-day, but unless you're an absolute gym goer for the longest period of time, you might not need the 5-day split yet. But I think most of you that watch the channel are at least more than a brand new beginner, in which case, if you're a brand new beginner, run with upper, lower, upper. or full body. If you're been training for a while, run with full body push, everything on the front of the body, full body pull, everything on the back of the body. Repeat that twice through per week. If you're been training for a long period of time, then run a 5-day, go push, pull, legs, then a rest day, chest and back, then delts and arms, then your next rest day. But critically, make sure your rest days are in between the block of your training so you can be effective at both ends. A lot of you, if you cram all 5 days together, how effective is that last session, realistically? Knowing you've had 4 days of accumulated fatigue, it's not going to be as effective, is it? Whereas the first one will be very high because you've had 2 days of rest. Let's break those up so we can make sure we're still effective towards the back end of the week as well. Now, one thing I want you to do is lift weights under control. That's the only thing I want you to take away from this video. When you've got the load at the top, come down 3, 2, 1, pause for 1, bang, drive it back up. Just lift weights with control and simultaneously make sure you track what you lift and beat it the next time round, and you're going to grow. It is that simple. As long as you track what you do and you beat it the next time round, you will grow. Write it down, lift it slow, just dial that in for the whole transformation. So we've told you how to set up, we've told you what to eat, we've told you how to train and what split to follow relative to your training age or your capacity for actual training. Now, you'll remember I started him on high-ish food. If I'm starting you on high-ish food, that also means if we need to see drop-offs, we're going to need to also start your cardio fairly high. So, again, I'm all in the camp of, and because I come from a background of being a British paratrooper, you want good, solid cardio, good, solid aerobic base. So from here, you're going to start with 20 minutes of cardio per day from the jump. Do this on something that's non-impact. I don't mind on your non-resistance training days. You want to go for a run, go for a run. But on the other days, no impact. We don't want to do anything that's going to accumulate too much fatigue nor spike appetite, because then it's going to make you harder to adhere to your own deficit. So you're going to start with that 20 minutes daily. You're also going to walk 10,000 steps additionally to the cardio. Always additionally, it does not get counted inside. Then you've got these levers. You either have more output or pull from food when you need to see a change. So how will you know when you need to make a change? You will assess your scale weight daily. Weigh yourself, weigh yourself, weigh yourself. Has it dropped that kilogram across the week? If not, turn the dial of cardio. More output. Again, if it starts to drop, perfect. Yeah, monitor it, dropping nicely. Yeah, things are going very well. I'm adhering, perfect. Boom, it's not. Turn the dial again. Go to the next run of cardio. Or you look and think, what would be better for me to pull a little bit of food and keep my output where it is so that my routine's not impacted, or I would rather eat a bit more and do a little bit more output. I'm more in the second camp just because I have a high appetite, so I'd rather move more always and keep my food as high as I can for as long as humanly possible. Plus, you want to be fit anyway. You're just going to keep rotating around like that. That's exactly what we did for him until we got him to the leanness. Now, there will be challenges, like he had to move house, he had to go away for a few weeks on end with his job, and it happens. It's going to happen to you. One thing I want you to understand, though, when that happens is we need to keep you motivated towards the goal. When you do this, you need to have a thought in your head. And I'll ask you this question now. Why do you want the physique in the first place? Why are you going to go through all this effort, all this trouble to get the physique? You need to sit and think, why do I actually want this? Because you just decided, I want a six-pack, it'll look cool for a photo. You will not stand the test of time. You will fold like a fucking deck chair. Because when it gets hard, the want and the need is not high enough for you. So we must understand you need to think of why do you want this. I can give you some insights. I can tell you why I want it. I can tell you why the men inside the Gorilla Platoon want it. But you need to come up with your own insights. Now, one insight I always give to people is it's not really about the six-pack. It's not about the muscle on your body. It's not about the six-pack. It's not about the PBs in the gym. It's not about any of that sort of stuff. That sort of stuff is just a vehicle. It's just an arbitrary trophy, we could call it, for the work of the man you needed to become along the way to get the physique. You can't take much with you in life. In fact, eventually the six-pack you get will eventually just become loose, saggy skin when you're 70 years old. But you can take with you your character. Every experience, every piece of adversity you've ever been through in your life, every challenge you've ever gone through and overcome it, has developed your character to where it is right now. The only thing you can take with you is your character. So use this as a vessel of a period of your life of suffering and challenge to develop your character. The reason I have this tattoo on my arm is because I used to be a British paratrooper. So I went through the training to do it. I spent many years serving. And that, up until at that point, was like the most challenging thing I'd done. Like, it was the hardest thing I'd done ever, like, as a young 17-year-old kid. And it developed who I was for the rest of my life. The way I have these thoughts and insights for you, like, literally the reason it's called Gorilla Platoon, is partly built off the insight that I was gifted at a young age from going through that. So what you're going to gain from this experience is not the six-pack. That's nice. It's more the challenge and the time frame you have to go through in order to get it. If you've never been through anything that's like truly hard, like you've never done some aggressive mountain, you didn't join the military, you didn't go through something hard in sport or something, and you're wishing you had something like that. Like, you've watched a lot of like YouTube, you've seen most people that achieve great things have gone through suffering and adversity, and you're thinking, honestly, my life's been all right. I grew up in a pretty all right area with like pretty decent family and stuff, and like, you know, it's been pretty nice. But like, you feel like you're missing what your story is, what your challenge is, what's like got you to where you are today. And in a weird way, you will kind of resent the people that were so below you that they were forced into story, challenge, growth, because you've not had that. And in a weird way, it's kept you behind them because they had to go through the thing. Use this as your thing, as your time of suffering, of your time of like going without, seeing if you can actually stand the test of time to do something, see what you're truly made of. You'll find out a lot more about yourself trying to get a six-pack than you will flying around country to country. I know this because I've done both, and I can tell you right now, flying from country to country is nice. It's very nice, but it's leisure. It really is leisure. Unless you're going there to do a certain mission, certain thing, like I flew to Kilimanjaro and went and climbed that mountain, that was there for the purpose of the mountain. Just floating from country to country, you think it's going to develop you as a character. It's better than staying at home. For sure, it's better than staying at home. 100% it's better than staying at home. But it's not better than staying at home and getting a six-pack. I can tell you right now, you develop a lot more about yourself getting a six-pack than you will flying country to country. And it's probably cheaper. And you look fucking a lot better for it by the time you finish. Versus if you travel country to country, you'll probably be soft, fat, but at least you'll have a suntan. So that's what I'll say to you on this. And that's why you need to create your why to stick things out and to keep motivation high. Because there's going to be times where you need to travel. There's going to be times where work comes up. There's going to be times where like you did everything you could to stick to the plan and still you couldn't adhere to it and you didn't make progress that week. You need to remember those points I've just mentioned when that happens. Because that's what's going to carry you through to the end and allow you to get the dream physique that you actually are required. So if you want me to do this for you inside the Gorilla Platoon, feel free to join through the link and I'll see you on the inside. Thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you tomorrow.